CREWCast. 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 Give it up for the CREWCast!
When you make this smoothie,
The benefits.
on the menu, you shouldn't say it's fucking awful. Right.
That should be the description.
We're rocking and rolling.
Should straight up.
Well played. That was a quick change. Jesus, are you actually Santa?
I can bring gifts. I come bearing. It's
Right.
going to be a very Christmassy episode because we have
We've got warmed up mince pies now in cream that we need to eat
and
immediately.
when Lex says warmed up, his actually fell over the top like a lava lamp because
they're still warm.
he definitely overdid.
Yeah, there's a balancing point in microwaving mince pies. It's good though, that, huh? That's a good mince pie.
It's your butter thing.
Why are they
It
called
just-
mince pies when there's no mince in them?
I feel like I should know the answer to
Yeah.
that because I'm a massive geek. And you were looking to me for the
I
answer
genuinely
and you were like,
I would want to know.
tell me, why don't you know this?
Do you reckon at one point they
I
did have mince in it?
Yeah, 100%. Why do they even call it minced meat? Because it's not minced meat. It's minced fruit and...
Sultanery goodness. That's definitely getting all in my beard. Oh, that is good.
I know it.
If you haven't had warm mince pie with cream on it, you've not done Christmas properly.
I highly recommend, if you have the time and culinary skills, to mix some brandy cream with some soft cheese, whip it together and then pipe it on top.
Like Philadelphia. Could you do it with Philadelphia? That's
Yeah,
soft
same
cheese.
thing. Yeah, just soft cheese.
Actual soft spreadable cheese.
Soft spreadable cheese, whip it with some cream and some brandy till it goes thick. And then just like, you don't have to pipe it on top if you don't want to be that fancy. You can just literally throw the mince pie in the cream and then just bathe in the filth.
This is my first mince pie. December.
Me too. Since about an hour ago.
First mince pie today.
Oh no.
Not even today.
No, not even today. I'm pretty sure I had 4 earlier. Alkaline nutrition.
That
Very acidic day.
all Christmas food is so happy that it's calorie free.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because you smile so much after
You
eating
smile
it,
so
you
hard.
burn off the calories that you're eating. That is science fact, ladies and
That is
gentlemen.
fact.
Science fact. So you might notice today, instead of Lou, we've got Jay Santa, Mr. Jason Green. He should be called Jason Red and Green today.
We are very festive today.
So I'm wearing my
It is a Christmas hat, Christmas t-shirt.
Christmas
not
t-shirt
hat,
that says-
Christmas t-shirt.
Now I Have a Machine Gun. Ho, ho, ho.
If you don't know where that's from,
We can't be friends.
check yourselves.
Can't be friends. Can't be friends. And it was white this morning, but then today I've been to the wilderness to find a tree, to cut down, to then drag back to my house,
Find a tree.
to then decorate.
Most normal people buy a tree that fits inside of their house.
Yeah, okay, let's wind it back, right? Well, first of all...
I feel like we need a picture up here right now.
Yeah, picture of my tree
Picture that I just took.
up on the screen now.
And now
Okay, now look, it's girthy, all right? But this T-shirt was clean when I went to get that tree. Now, this is either, and I can't work it out, my own blood or tree dirt or a mixture of the two. Because it's
Or
a
a
spiky ass tree. Yeah, we had to drag it into the back garden. It was a beast. Then we had to take a chainsaw to it to cut off the skirt, then trim down the trunk. Then we gently smashed it into a metal holder, and it's now sat in its water bucket downstairs, slowly getting decked. It's so big, right? Okay, you know how when you look in your wing mirrors of your car and it says objects may appear smaller than in real life. That's what happens to trees when you look at them in nature and then drag them back into your house. I was like, they'll fit no problem.
I think what Lex is missing here is that he had to drag his tree into the house. Most people go, I'm just going to put my Christmas tree in my living room right now. Lex is hauling it through.
With the help of a farmer and his hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, this thing is...
Right, I got to take that off. That's too hot already.
Let me
put
see
that.
if I can don that.
Alexis.
Oh, that is proper.
Yeah, it's a really warm Christmas
that
hat,
from?
mate.
It's a good one.
I have no idea. I've had it for years, but it's like a very warm
I can actually hear
Christmas
you
hat.
less with this on. That's how thick that rim is. Indulgent.
Well, when you're going around the world delivering presents, it gets a bit
You gotta
cold.
stay warm.
So, being that it's Christmas, I have a couple of gifts. These are not like personal gifts. These are podcast gifts because I've been on the podcast a couple of times now, and I was kind of like, oh, let's get some podcast gifts that we're all probably going to consume and indulge in at some point. So,
At Christmas time or general time?
like general Christmas time, any time. It doesn't really matter. In no particular order, I found this, which let's put that up to the viewers, is a bullseye barbecue sauce mixed with sweet whiskey.
What the hell?
Mate, I've got a bottle at home, and I
It doesn't scream Christmas. What
no,
it
it's
screams
not.
is barbecue.
Gift. That's what it was. I was out. I got sidetracked. It's not very Christmassy,
Delicious.
but it's a great gift.
That is a great stocking filler, though.
So
Sweet whiskey bullseye, Tennessee style sweet whiskey glaze. Oh, dude, that's going to be ridiculous.
Lou, I'm really sorry that you're not here to receive all this stuff.
Dude.
As well, but there's a 12-year-old Glenfiddich.
Which we love.
I know. They said they loved that. So what I decided
Hang
I'd
on.
do.
Have you actually purchased this, or are you just dragging these from your own
No, I
cabinet?
purchased this.
Mate,
Thank you,
that's too much.
sir.
That is too much.
And then I thought you'd have a comparison to a 15 and an 18-year-old.
oh.
So you can go through the spectrum.
Oh, we can't. do
And
this
then-
without- I don't think we can do
No,
this.
we
without
can't
Lou.
do
We
it
can open
without
this
Lou.
one without Lou.
Yeah, because Lou's done that
'Cause
one, hasn't he? But we can't
Lou,
we
you
can't do
snooze,
the
you
triple.
lose.
Lou, I'm so sorry, mate.
We can open each one of these, had it.
Like this because this was for you and Lou. I've got you two absolute G
this is
cigars.
too much.
So Lou, like I was thinking of you when I did this. Right, you've got some Liga Zebra cigars. They're Barber Pole cigars. So they have two separate wrappers through. They
Look
look
how
cool,
cool
don't
that
they?
is. It's like a candy cane. Yeah. A cigar version of a candy cane.
Damn straight.
Liga Zebra.
Yeah, you
I can
can't
smell them.
Can't get them in this country.
They do smell like zebra.
So they're American Viking cigars.
Smells like safari. You can't get them in this country.
No,
Why?
no.
Are they illegal?
No, not illegal. It's just that they're not sold in this country because it's a site. Can I mention sites on this?
Yeah.
So it's Cigars Daily, and they have their own brand of cigar, and it's American Viking cigar, and that's their pivotal cigar. Like it's cool.
That's ballsy doing a Viking branding on a cigar because you've got
American
because the
Viking.
cigar world is a bit.
Oh, there's right the way through the spectrum. When you dive into New World cigars, there's some called War Hero cigars. There's some called
What's thingy's whiskey called? The fighter. It's called War. Not Warhammer. That's the game that nerds like playing. That I won't admit that I enjoy playing when I actually did play it.
Got him.
It was really fun. It was really. We only played the simple version though because the full nerd version was too much.
I never played
for
it,
me.
mate.
I just did the roll. You hit, you strike, your number of whatever you got on the die was your hit, and then it's just like turn-based action, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't actually know.
Shut up. Dungeons and Dragons is cool, man.
Okay. No, you're not lighting out without Lou because they're for you and Lou.
Oh, these are for me and Lee, right?
Yes,
I'll put those
so-
aside. Right. Oh, look, there's the empty. To my left is the empty bottle of... Oop, bashing like friend. Empty bottle of the 12-year Glenfiddich,
that,
which will
wasn't
now
that
be
good
replaced by a full one.
So you put them back in there, and then
So this is
in
the way to
bottom-
keep cigars when you don't have a humidor, is it? Just put them in a
Yeah, kind
plastic
of.
bag.
So you've got a Ziploc seal bag, and then in the bottom you've got something called a Bovida pack, which is like a
I'm going to chuck all my cigars in this bag then.
pretty much like an automatic
Here's the
humidity
thing.
sensors.
If say somebody that you... Ooh, that was that.
That was a little bit of cream on the floor.
Cream retardant carpeting. No, retardant? Retardant. If like say someone you know maybe got a load of cigars and then just put them in like a warm room downstairs on a drinks cabinet. Let's not say who did that, but say they did.
Asking
right?
for a friend.
Yeah, asking for a friend. If I then put them in with one of these little bags, like little humidor bag things,
that
would it help them survive? Would it bring them back?
Months, and you'd need a much bigger Bovida pack than that. They do
okay.
like
They are savable, are they?
maybe
not.
yeah, maybe,
Okay.
maybe not. It's kind of like it's one of those. Once the cigar dries out, apparently it goes beyond a certain point, and then it's because of the oils in the tobacco leaves when they're fermented.
Yeah.
Once the oils dry out, you can't re-oil it if you like.
Have they ever
It's
tried
not-
putting beard oil on it?
I was going to say it's not like you
Rub
drop
a
a bit of olive oil on there and be like,
Oh, yeah.
anti-inflammatory cigars.
Just a little bit of what is it? What's the scent that we all have that we like? The woody one.
Oh, that's cedarwood.
Cedarwood, yeah, a bit of cedarwood cigar.
Cedarwood oil.
Might be a whole new world. New world cigars, cedarwood.
So instead of those, we've actually got an Oliva Connecticut.
You bought more? Holy shit.
Of course I have. I wanted to smoke something.
too
These are for Lou. See, these are exclusive, Lou. He is not allowed to smoke
I
this
won't.
without you. Okay?
I might hold a picture of Lou next to me and just.
Lucy
I do that with Lou. I send you a picture and it's just. I'll green screen it.
Lou smoking with me. Lou, smoke your
Why
cigar.
does Lou look like he's in South Park and he's Canadian?
Keep smoking.
Hey, man.
Look, he smoked.
Yeah, blowing the smoke. Right. What are we doing then? Because we brought up this. Well, do you want to try the Nick? Have you tried that?
I much prefer the Nika than the Glenfiddich, so I'm going to have a little bit of Nika from the
I'm
barrel.
going to have the Glen. Okay.
Now
what else is happening? So we are in December. It is Christmas time, people. I hope you're rocking and rolling. Oh yeah. So my tree, is in the house, and let's just finish that story.
It's half a fucking forest.
I've had to move my entire living room a bit to the right to accommodate this tree. There's actually no joke. Like everything had to shift down.
He sent me a picture earlier, and I looked in it. I was like, "Wow, that's a really big fucking tree." And then I got here, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at that tree! It did not do it justice."
We had to cut half a foot off the top of it. But it's the girth.
It's massive.
It's
I
the
think it's
girthiest tree I've ever had. I think it's Lou in Christmas tree form. It is honestly so. It's I would say it's at least, what would you reckon? Like
I think
I'd say it's about 6 foot wide.
I think it's as wide as it is tall.
Maybe
I reckon
5
if you
5
no,
foot wide.
it's,
Do you think it's more than 5 feet wide?
Much wider than 5 foot.
Okay, so near 6 feet wide.
Like bring the photo up again.
Well, it's 8 foot tall because the ceiling living room is 8 feet tall and it's touching. Well, it was bending over. I
Like
had
you
to
look
chop
at the
the bit
photo.
off.
If the photo's up there.
Yeah. Oh, you took one of me.
Yeah, I've
I'll
got
put
it.
that one
You
up.
stood
Yeah.
next to the tree.
Of course, that's already been up.
And
yeah.
I think maybe we should get one with
how
you
cheeky is the Glenfiddich?
after to like light across and see it as a
in a
measurement.
sexy pose.
This
There's a
is
Glenfiddich 12-year cheeky pot.
Lex in a thong.
Oh, that's a cheeky pot. Oh,
We like that.
oh,
So,
it does smell good. Cork doesn't do this one justice. Bottled nice, cork alcohol. Oh,
yeah.
lovely, mate. A little bit of a. Oh, it's a pourer. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not a
wide.
glugger.
It's a
That is a
wide neck to the
wide
ball.
necked one. Right, let's pork that. Okay, so what else is going on? There's Christmas tree is in the house. Chris is feeling Christmassy. Do you know one weird thing is I am ahead of pretty much all my Christmas presents as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Christmas Eve shopping. Or just like Christmas Eve shopping. Because one, when you're under stress, you make decisive choices. You also, that now, and you've paid like 20% more than you should have if you bought it a month ago, but you don't care because you got the right gift. And that's how you know when you got a good one, because you're like, I'm paying more than what I should have.
I've paid more.
Yes.
It's the
So
right gift.
that's what I like about the panic buying. And also, I just sometimes like,
pressure.
but I know I'm good at the panic buying, like because I always have ideas of what I'm heading for, and I'm good at gift buying, pretty good. But I like looking at the people that are not only panic buying, but also shit at buying
just
gifts.
buying
And they're
shit.
like, they're just stood there and you see they're like looking at something like a meat hammer or a pair of Grinch slippers. And you're like, who are you buying for?
The same person. And then
Yeah.
when they look at you and go,
Which one? And like, who's it for? My nan. Does she beat lambs to death or something? I don't know.
no, it was me.
And you just, on the sheer panic in their eyes. And I always love the ones as well where I love the moments where you get to drag in one of the shopping assistants and put them under pressure as to which gift you should buy. You know which one you're going to buy, but you just think for your own amusement, I'm going to look panicked. I'm going to drag this poor girl in and be like, which one will my mum like better? And then you pretend to wear the sparkly sequin, and you try and find one with medals on it that's absolutely horrendous. And you just see which one they'll pick. The sequin one or the one with military medals on it. Who's it for? My mum. And then sometimes you get a good one though, and you go, I think you should just come and have a look at this thing first, and then they take you to some completely different, and you're like, okay, you're good.
It's when you're picking up lingerie and the woman's like, oh, so is it
for
for your mum? No, it's for my mum.
My nan. She's recently single, and I'm trying to get her back out there.
She's on Tinder.
You shopping for your nan. In M&S. That'd be the best place. In M&S,
Brutal.
trying on massive sexy pants. And then walking up to the lady in the store who's a bit elderly and plumping, being like, what size are you? And then measuring her up with the sexy pants.
Yeah, I'll do.
Oh, that is a day. That is a fun day. Imagine if you got one who got really into it. And was like, oh, I'll try those on for you,
Well, I
love.
am single.
I'll try those on for you, love.
I am single, so I'm going to M&S tomorrow.
Get yourself a sugar mama.
Going to M&S looking in the
Hey,
lingerie
listen,
section.
don't turn your nose up at a discount on M&S food. This isn't just any nana. This is an M&S nana.
This is
S&M nana.
oh, Jesus.
Okay, that's going dark. So we've gone from Christian shoes to S&M nana. That was a good tangent. I think that's one of the
That
best.
was a very big
So
tangent.
I've bought the girthiest tree I think I've ever bought. I've bought bigger trees, but not girthier. And currently I've gone with, now this is where we all come a cropper. Do you go traditional, gold, red and green? Because this year I've gone red and white. And do you know what? I kind of like it. And I've always been a traditional gold, red and green.
I never really had too much.
This is why we're smoking cigars today, because the conversation is super girly.
We got to claw back some man points.
Yeah.
I never really had that much. I don't want to say I didn't have a say. I just didn't really care that much about the colour.
Really?
Unless the colour of the tree was different. So
I'm a tree
have you
Nazi.
heard about, there is now black Christmas trees.
Yeah, take your stupid idea, shine it up real nice, turn it sideways, and then get someone else to shove it up your bum because you don't deserve to know when it's coming.
So we've just established that Lex is probably not a fan
Get
of black Christmas
bent.
trees.
Black Christmas trees. Jesus.
I mean, light your cigar and calm down.
That
okay?
was some middle-aged white dude that thought that up, wasn't it? Christ.
Black Christmas trees matter.
Well, you know who's got one of those, don't you? The Kardashian dicks. They've definitely got a black Christmas tree. Ooh!
With nude coloured
Yeah.
decorations.
Let's cover new decoration. Yeah, I bet they freaking do.
You know they do.
Yeah, you know they do.
When they brought out a whole range of fitness gear in nude colour.
Oh, yeah.
You know they've got it
Because
on
you know
Christmas
that's going to be
decorations.
flattering.
Yeah.
Jesus. What else were we saying? Here's what's happening with the football. I think it's England did some football and probably lost. I don't watch it at all and I don't care. But apparently there's some football on.
I didn't even know the football was on until I was going to the gym on the weekend, and then there was people coming from the football game, which is right next to the gym ground, coming away at like 12 o'clock, and I was like, fuck my life, I normally miss all of this traffic and all of these people because I come earlier to the gym. So why is this happening to me now? And then my housemate says to me in the car, he's like, well, England are playing later, so they do their game earlier. And I was like, England are playing? And he was like, yeah, it's the World Cup.
Is it World Cup? I was about to say it's not World Cup, is it?
I'm pretty
it
sure
is a
it
World
is.
Cup.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think it
We
is.
suck anyway. Do we not ever do well, do we? The only reason I saw it is because I saw a meme or something pop up on
so.
Instagram of a footballer crying, and I was like, yeah, figures. I didn't even read what the words said. I'm sure it was meant to be funny. I was just like, no, that's the sport.
Do you remember? So when I was younger, I don't know whether this happened to you, but my parents always used to watch the World Cup. I think they felt like some sort of patriarchal.
There was a point where football was awesome.
Yeah.
When you had footballers that would like get stamped on and keep running.
See,
like
here's where I'm
Vinnie
going
Jones,
with this.
the Vinnie Jones era.
See, here's where I'm going with this.
Cantona when he went. I mean, the dude front kicked a fan with studs on. Legend.
Well, dude, the last memory of a World Cup I have is Zinedine Zidane headbutting someone in the
Yes!
chest and dropping him like
And
a sack
then
of
the
potatoes.
guy dropped like he'd been shot by a sniper.
Which I'm pretty sure it probably felt like it. Like Zidane has a massive head and he hit him full throttle with that to the chest.
That was the golden era of football.
That was
That
great.
is all gone.
I don't remember much about football after that. I think,
No, I just gave up on it.
yeah, I think that, my parents, I think it was like a patriarchal cycle when the World Cup came
Well, my
on. They were
mum
just
and
like,
my sister's
we
a
must
mum
watch
of
it, we must watch.
football mad.
Hate it.
They
Just
are
not
mad.
interested.
And they always, they absolutely love it. And I like playing it. I just can't. Like when they fall down, I just think there should be a one stamp rule. Like if you're on the floor, if you go down, the nearest person to you should be allowed to stamp you once. as a choice, you give away a foul, but you get to stamp and you're not carded. So that way, if you go down and you're diving, the dude can be like, I'm gonna use my foul stamp.
That's like that old
And just
dark,
bang!
that old dark rollerball film. Have you ever seen that?
Rollerball rings a bell.
So it's like a the whole rollerball
Yeah.
derby thing,
Roller
where
derbies.
basically I think it's mainly, forgive me if it's not, but like I think it's mainly a women's sport. They go around on roller skates, but they're like smashing into
violent.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're savages, aren't they? Well, this
I
was
think
a
it's
really
just mainly because there's more women that can roller skate better than men. That it's
it's
women's
more
sport.
than likely.
Yeah.
So there was an old film, I'm pretty sure like 70s or 80s, called Rollerball, I think it was, and it was a really dark film, and basically it was like a fight to the death.
Ah.
There was some really gruesome shit went on it for an old film, and then they made a remake of it. And
recently?
Like I think early 2000s, so
Okay.
it was like quite a recent remake for what it was. Look at the purge on that. We got a full flamethrower tonight. Lex is burning off the excess ammonia inside of his cigar so it can taste smoother right now. That's got to be an advert. We need to clip that, send that to a lever and be like, do you want to use this? He's in a Christmas t-shirt. Oh, that's my 8 o'clock alarm.
You have a lot of alarms.
So I do. So this is his
You're a bit
productivity
like
hack.
that. That's
This-
my 2 o'clock alarm. That's my 4 o'clock alarm. That's my have a cup of tea alarm.
So this is a productivity hack that I engaged about 3 years ago, and it goes off every day. So I have a 8 a.m. regardless, like I'm up way earlier, like 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning, but I have an 8 a.m. alarm to know where I am, a 12, a 4, and an 8. So 4 alarms that go off every single day without fail. 8, 12, 4, and 8. So I know every 4 hourly interval. I used to do 2 hourly, but it used to piss me off because I was usually deep in the process of
it'd break you
something.
out, yeah.
That's it. And it brings you out, and it's, if you look into the science behind it, the neurological science, if you break focus when you are in the zone, so you're so deep into it, it can take up to 20 minutes to re-engage
this is the
that
problem
focus.
with me and the ADHD. That's exactly me. So if I'm in a flow, don't try and talk to me. Don't come in. Don't. But if somebody walks in and does something, I will look at you like you've stabbed me in the nuts because you've just
'Cause
pulled,
you
you've
know
pulled
what's
me
just
out of a
happened.
really good flow, and it takes me so long to get into one. But when I'm in it, I can be in it for hours and I get shit done. But if people keep popping in or things keep happening, this is why I don't get shit done because again, it's like 20 minutes to get back in, 20 minutes to get back in. But if that's happening every hour or an hour and a half,
And I think
I'm
we need
wasting
to
4 hours a day
we
of
need
getting
to
back in.
define that flow as well. Like when you're on point, when you're in the zone, it's where you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just going.
Oh, yeah,
you're not going.
everything's-
Oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to do that. You're just like
Yeah.
and off. Things are happening. You're not overthinking it. It just works, and that's what we're talking about. Breaking
And
the
you're
cycle.
not, and you don't get distracted. Nothing else is pulling you.
Doesn't matter.
Like
You've got like
you
tunnel
just
vision.
Boom, you're in and you're rolling, and it's
They actually reckon they measured pupil dilation on people when they got into this zone, and they reckon the pupils didn't dilate, they narrowed like they had a tunnel vision. So they were like, nothing mattered. They didn't need peripheral vision. So pupil.
That'd be really interesting if you could just put a time lapse camera on the top of the laptop that you just could, like, if you 4K'd it, and
Just
then
to see.
just if you could get it to last for an hour, just to see how the pupils react. That'd be quite cool. Oh, that would be quite cool. I'm going to
Anyway.
do that with that GoPro.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Spoiled.
And to all the viewers. And Lou, I'm so sorry you couldn't be here, buddy. I know you've had a very busy weekend, but Lex isn't allowed to touch these cigars without you. And obviously you've got the 15 and
those.
the 18-year-old.
I'll put them over here on the special slab.
The zebras, and then you've got the 15 and the 18-year-old to go through with the 12-year-old to do a bit of a mixer with it.
Well,
So, I want to tell you a Christmas story.
a funny one.
Yeah, I think so. There is a bit of a serious life lesson at the end of it, but it's quite an embarrassing story for me.
Yes.
I think now that I look back on it, I think it is quite embarrassing. So, we used to have very big family Christmases, so it was like a big thing. We either spent it with our cousins, or they came to us.
What happened to that, dude?
Well, my parents broke up. And now I'm going to cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Jealous.
No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Lex's mum and dad, if
No,
you're
I'm
watching.
kidding.
So,
no, I didn't. I didn't grow up with a solid. I had a father figure, but my dad left before I can. Do you know when your memory of your father? My memory of my father is the guy who stepped in.
nice.
Yeah, so
That's
I don't
good
actually
in a way,
remember.
because I think you had the stability from that, don't you? This
I
is,
can make it I can tell you a really sad story.
Oh God.
of this.
Well,
Should
let me tell you my embarrassing one first, so we can just take the edge off the darkness that you're going to bring
piano
in.
music. Yeah. So, no, it's really quick. I remember. Apparently, what happened was, and hey, fuck all you guys that do this to anybody. And if you've ever done this, fuck you.
I feel like it's going to be a really big moment coming on here. I feel like I need to like.
No. It's one that's like it's my mum told it about me. It's not like I remember doing it, but I just remember hearing it from my mum and being like, you know, a little bit like, oh, I was so innocent. And basically, so my biological father, I think I can't remember it, so I've got to be, but I was talking, and I understood money. So I reckon 3. Reckon about that? Kind of understand that money buys stuff, coin makes food, kind of thing.
Yeah, he said.
Apparently, they were walking together, and it was just in the middle of somewhere, a park. He just basically told my mum, I can't do this, and I'm moving to America or some shit, or whatever. I'm leaving, one of the two. And he leaves, and my mum starts to get really upset, so I notice my mum's now upset. And I asked her, I was like, what's wrong? Yeah, and she's obviously trying to hide a little bit. She goes, "Oh, nothing. I'm just worried about money." And previously to this whole scenario starting, I'd been given a £1 coin, and apparently my mum says, I just looked at her and went, "Don't worry, mum, I've got lots of money," and then just held up this little £1 coin, this little golden saviour. I was like, "Don't you worry, I got us." And heartbreaking, isn't it?
I don't really want to tell my story now. Like that's.
Well, if it's more elevated than that, but hey, look, I turned out fine. My mum couldn't have been, better, and it isn't the end of the world. Just because, I mean, what did I lose? An asshole that didn't care. What else have you lost from your life other than somebody who may otherwise have just been bitter and uninterested anyway?
See, his real twist in it is, I had both my parents growing up all the way through.
Yeah.
And then, as a result of an affair by my mother for 18 months, I no longer have a relationship with her. And in a strange twist of the tale, even though I had my mum growing up all the way through my childhood, I didn't ever have a good relationship with her. And now, strangely, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I haven't spoken to her for nearly a decade.
What?
And I don't feel like I'm missing anything.
Do you not think that maybe it's time to let it go?
Not yet, no. I'm not holding anything. I'm not in a position where, like, when I speak about her, I'm like, oh, this horrible woman, she did this, she tore our family apart, and this, that, and the other.
But she did that because you just said those very quickly. So that happened, did it?
Yeah, 100%. Oh, yeah, it tore everybody apart. There was all sorts of problems. My sister, bless her, suffered for years and years to regain a relationship with her. There was some very, very nasty shit went on where, like, my mum's boyfriend, now partner, I guess, he's called that, threatened her, and the police got involved. And
who threatened who?
So my sister was threatened by my mum's boyfriend.
What?
Yes, as a 17-year-old girl, and he was a 40-something-year-old man at the time.
Oh, he wouldn't have been able to walk if I'd have heard about something.
I know, and I did say the same sort of thing.
Just be a stain on the floor.
So there was a few controversial things. That was kind of the nail in the coffin for me. I was like, wow. And
how she let him do that?
Yeah, because the police were involved. So Zoe, my sister, involved the police, wanted to press charges or file an official report, and my mum actually backed him. So I was like,
but this is how much had he played on her mentally and stuff like that. Like she was obviously vulnerable, not excusing it by any means, but it's a pattern. This isn't an unusual occurrence where they suddenly back the stranger over family. Yeah. Because what those clever people do is they separate you and segregate you. And people think they're smart and clever. They're 101 carbon copies of each other. It's just a very efficient method of manipulating somebody too.
But Zoe suffered with that terribly after that, and she went through this phase of like, I should not speak to my mum because of what's gone on, but I really need a relationship with my mum. And the conversation I had with her, I just said, hey, look, I'm not going to judge you for this. If you need a relationship with mum, then go and have one with her. But please don't put me in a position where you're trying to force one with me and her, because if the time should ever come right, I'll know.
Yeah.
And I will take the step, but I haven't missed it up until now, strangely. So,
But you started from it recently.
no,
Oh, but you just said up until now.
as in, yeah, like to this very point.
So it's still up to
Yeah,
this point.
not missing anything at all. It's not like I can't. There's not. So like with my dad, there's very select moments throughout my life that I could pick and choose where he's drastically influenced the man that I've become.
Yeah.
With certain traits, certain little sayings and
My
stuff that he
granddad did
said.
that for me.
Yeah,
What's
just,
the things that you talk on?
So
Because these are really nice memories when you get back on.
just simple things like think first before you say anything. And I know it sounds so simple, but the amount of times where I've had, have you ever watched an Elon Musk interview, where, especially with Joe Rogan, he asked him a question and
You can see him weighing up every possible response.
just
Yeah.
tick, 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 go.
And doesn't care about the gap.
No.
Doesn't care about
because
that
he
awkward silence.
actually thinks about it.
Do you know what's funny? Ex relationships that you've had, some ended bad, some end just peter out, don't they? I always had some really nice relationships with their parents, and like not having a father in like the traditional sense. If some of my ex-partners had fathers, some absolute lacking in balls, and I was like, cool, that's not how to be a man in any way, shape or form. I learnt that lesson. But on other sides, there was proper men. And I remember being, obviously you're younger as well, one of my ex's fathers was a proper bloke. Like, he'd grown up fighting. He'd pulled himself out of like a gutter situation. He was very talented in ways you wouldn't expect, but had taken a very hard job line to support his family. And I was always just like, he could have been a pro golfer, this guy, but he chose instead to be something very different. He says he was a prison warden.
Dad made the same sacrifice with us because he was on Red Star, which was the main railway service in Britain. And he was the area parcel manager for the whole of the Midlands. So even back in the 80s when he was doing it, he was in charge of 2.5 million quid's worth of parcels a week. So,
I sod that responsibility.
and then, right, he decides he's going to jack that all in and buy a butchery business in Baston Hill, where I live currently.
Balls.
And after the divorce, mate, he was left with multiple amounts of debt.
Really?
Yeah, huge amounts. He took it on the chin, gave mum a 55% value of the house.
What?
Yeah, don't. And that's why
So that can leave you a bit, can't it? 'Cause you're like, what are you doing?
No, it proved to me the values that he had. He's like, take it.
Yeah.
Take it. I'll take it on the chin.
But he was just like, get out.
Yeah, just
Whatever
like
you want to get away,
let's
take
move
it
on.
and leave.
Yeah,
There's more to life than this.
happily, and I am so happy for him. He's remarried.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
about 5-6 years now as well, and you're just like, I'm so
Set.
just happy to see him happy. That's the nice thing about it, like, because it was 29 years of marriage before all that come unstuck. Wow. Yeah, it's your life gone.
That is
3 kids.
Yeah, 3 decades. Wow, that's a life.
Yeah.
That's a whole life. That's a whole child, adolescence, teenage, into semi-adult life to full adult. Yeah, 30 years. Christ.
What's really brutal, right? So, and I'm going to put this out on the podcast because like none of my family's ever going to see it, but my mum insisted that when we went over to my brother's wedding, we knew about what she'd done, but we kept it quiet from my brother because of the wedding.
So he thought your mum and dad were fine. And
Although after we left and went home, he actually messaged me and my sister and said, "Mum and Dad going to break up."
Okay. So they couldn't hide
What do you
it
say
for
to that, though?
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Yeah. But I'd tell them at that point. But to scoot back to the thing I learned, back to a positive, that man who chose to be a prison warden instead of a golfer, and I kept telling him all the time, go and teach golfers. Like, he was beating pro golfers. He beat people in tournaments who were on PGA tours.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But and so I remember saying to him, I said, just on the weekends, just coach. Charge £100 an hour. Yeah. Like, he was known in the club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he looked like a boxer. This is the best part of it. He looked like a boxer. His nose broken numerous times. He just looked savage. He was like he looked like a rugby forward. He was like, you wouldn't mess. And I remember him saying to me, he said, whenever you get in a discussion with somebody, let them talk. And that stuck with me. And you know why? Because he was trained in hostage negotiation. And he said, you just let them talk because they will make mistakes.
Silence is the most powerful tool.
It really is. And there's times when I want to fill silence, and I always dig a hole if I do that. And there's times where that has jumped into my head. It's like, stay quiet, let them talk. Every time that happens, I come out on top.
Yeah.
Every time. So that, and it's funny what sticks with you though. I don't remember where that conversation happened. I just remember asking about his qualifications for the job because he had some cool things that he'd gone for. Because even in the job, he'd gone for stuff. And I remember he was at hostage negotiation. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I said, what's the thing you learned from that? And I remember him telling me that, let the other person talk. Whenever you're in an argument or in a discussion, leave a silence that's awkward and they will fill it and they will make mistakes.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll talk themselves out of whatever it was that they were pushing towards because of the silence. Yeah. They just expect the void to be filled, don't they? It's great.
And it really does. I need to do that more.
It's something that I learned when I was going through sales training and stuff for the online business and that. That was one of the things was say your intro and then shut up. Stop fucking talking was actually what was written on the sales script.
Yeah. Lou's mentioned that before.
Yeah, just stop.
Yeah.
And
it makes them commit to something, to an answer.
Well, that's at the close. At the start of the call. So if you've pre-framed the call and somebody's coming on, so for example, I obviously do well-being and nutrition and bits and pieces and stuff outside the crypto. So if somebody comes on the call and they know what they're coming to me for, I don't need to talk.
Of course.
I just say, so why are we on this call right now? And then shut up.
Yeah.
The amount of times you want to interject because of this, because of that, just don't. The worst calls I've ever had are when I've interjected and stopped the flow of conversation because here's a great sales tactic. The more pain that somebody's inside of about the problem that they're having, the easier they are to commit to solving that problem with you.
Which is where they can be taken advantage of by unscrupulous individuals.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and obviously if it's known to us who run legitimate businesses, it is known to these scammers and these people that are looking to just extort people, unfortunately. So...
But it's funny. There's do you know there's other dumb stuff though that stuck with me? Like sometimes I can't remember. Like there will be a moment where you come in and there'll be somebody in the house and I won't remember your name, and I'll have seen you like say it's Sunday now. I'll have seen you today and it'll be Wednesday, and my brain will just go. And it just wipes your name from my memory as if it's playing a trick on me. Honestly, God, I swear. Sometimes I feel my brain is this other little entity. I talked about this before, like whenever we're in interviews and things like that, I will say something that even seems wisdomous to me, and it's coming out of my mouth, and I'll be like, "Good one, brain." It's like, "Yeah, I know."
Lock that away for you, Lex.
Yeah, I remember saying in an interview. I remember saying, I don't know if I think we talked about this on this last podcast, but I remember I was being interviewed about. There's a motivation to do something. And as I was talking, my brain just came up with, if you complain about something and do nothing to change what you're complaining about, you have no right to complain about that again. Yeah. And the interview I was doing, it was at the time, I think it was Noel Mack at the time, because it was in the golden era. And he went, "Oh, that's good, dude." I went, "I know." My brain it's a bizarre thing when your brain comes up with something you're not expecting. But this is I think this is part of my ADHD. I think there are genuinely, my brain separates off into different zones. Like it doesn't connect properly. That's where the flow's lost. I'm almost separated from it. It's bizarre. But yeah, it comes up with weird stuff. So other things that it'll do to me though is like that. It'll wipe your name. Like my best friends, like sometimes and it's a simple name. It was like Sam or Mark. It's not like I'm trying to remember Hosea or something odd. I remember one time, when I was younger, I used to always stay around at my mate John Hatch's house. Shout out, John. He's killing it. Went from being a naughty boy in school to teaching primary school to getting out to France, teaching in a private school in Paris where he had like the likes of Johnny Depp's kids. I don't know if Johnny Depp has kids, but like that level. It wasn't Johnny Depp, it was somebody else, but Johnny Depp always jumps into my head. Yeah. The kids would like be brought in Rolls Royces by the driver, Amazing. The parents, that kind of thing. And it was an English speaking school in Paris. Brilliant. So he got in there. So he went, and the reason he got that was because he worked in a dog shit school in England and did it for a year and did so well they gave him a glowing reference, which got into this job in France, which he went for because he met a girl in Biarritz surfing and like fell in love with her and was like, "I'm moving to France to be with her." And just got this job. He now works in Geneva teaching in like this fully supported, They even gave me like a house budget and everything to move there, to buy a home and everything. Killing it. Naughty kid expelled from one school, now teaching in Geneva. Just honestly. But I used to hang out at his house pretty much every weekend. I was like their surrogate son. Like, and that was only because, John, you know this, because you refused to sleep at anyone else's house. It's like it was a nightmare to get him to come and stay at yours. So he all just stayed at his all the time. Fair play to Mike and Viv, his mum and dad, who put up with us for years and years and years. Although I did pay you back, John, by getting you a B in biology, because I was behind him in one of the A-level exams, and I finished my test quick because I like biology, so I had like 20 minutes left over, and just because his last name was Hatch and mine's Griffin, we just happened to be, I was behind him in the exam room, and so I was finished, and I was like, had my head on my elbows, like on my arms, like lying down, like done. I was like, dude, he's struggling with anything, and he just like put his paper up, like as if he was reading it, and then he just tapped the questions that he was showing us, and I just dictated behind him the answers. He's predicted a D and he got a B.
That's amazing.
Right, yeah.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, we were close, man. And one time, I used to go there on a Friday, and then we'd stay until Sunday and then come home. I'd go back on his school bus and do that. It was a whole thing. It was cool. Like, and his bus was the naughty bus. There was always trouble on his bus because it was the double decker, and it was going back to Burnley. But when there was one time I didn't go back on a Friday, but our other mate Pete Mitchell did, and I got there on the Saturday morning, and I remember I got there in the morning early, and they'd watched Top Gun or something the night before, and I'd missed it, and that was like, we used to watch the same movies. It was either Top Gun, Demolition Man, or a Steven Seagal movie where he broke many bones, and I remember I said something about not going to do something, and then John turned to Pete, and this is so bizarre why your brain remembers this, but it's seared into my memory. He went, oh, it's something about shaving, and they were talking about shaving for because we were at 15, so obviously conversations at that time are like, I don't know,
do you have hairs on your balls?
Yeah.
And can you shave?
Yeah, shaving, football probably at that time, or basketball for us. How centered is my center parting? Do you have any spare gel? And also something to do with shaving your body. So John was the first of us who shaved his chest. I remember that. And he said, we was talking about shaving, and I said, and he said to Pete, he turned to went, we know how to shave, and Pete went, against the grain. And it's a simple line from Top Gun where he's in the shower, in the bathroom or something, shaving. And I remember in that exact moment feeling so left out.
Because you were there.
Because I missed it, and it was FOMO times infinity. Like, and it for that
Damaging
Why
FOMO.
is that seared into my brain?
Because
I will forget your name on a Wednesday.
Because there's stronger emotion mixed with that, mate.
It's bizarre. That's the reason, because it's emotionally charged memory.
Neurologically speaking, right? This is fact as well. I'm not spitting some bullshit here. Information plus emotion equals a long-term memory. That's the calculation. So the only reason you have long-term memories beyond a certain date is because there is a massive emotional charge behind it. Not necessarily just because you're like, oh, that really means something to me. Oh, I'm in love in that moment. Oh, that was stressful. It can be that the music that was played at that moment in time was something that made you happy as a child and was playing at that moment, and it burned that memory. And the memory itself might mean absolutely jack shit, but the music can trigger enough emotion in you to store that memory.
Do you know what makes me get better at learning something? I put on the album 07, Simple Things.
Yeah.
Because I played it on repeat loop at uni when I was cram revising for exams. And now when I put it on, it makes my brain
Switch
in
learning mode.
I'm Pavlov's dog, mate.
Neurological
I'm one of
connection.
Pavlov's dogs. Ring a bell, I will slobber. 100%. You could get me doing that in like 8 hours, I reckon.
Yeah. You're going to be one of them guys.
Bell, mince pie. Fourth mince pie, I'm dribbling by the time the bell comes. Like, I'm telling you.
Have you ever had hypnotherapy?
I tried to be hypnotized once at uni, and it couldn't hypnotize me.
Yeah.
But whereas my mate, well, was he a mate? He was an acquaintance. Went up there and got hypnotized, and genuinely, like, he had this guy screaming in Chinese about losing a bet, like whenever a sound came on, and he refused to believe it happened to him. Even weeks afterwards, like, shut up! He thought we were all taking the piss, like it all joined together
just
to
make
keep
this
this
big
lie
joke.
going.
Wow.
He was genuinely irately screaming in what he believed to be Chinese, at this, about losing a bet.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was
So-
legit, but some people are just not susceptible to it.
No, that's it. There's only like 1 in 5 neurologically speaking that has a brainwave pattern that makes them susceptible to.
Do you reckon if you meditate a
hypnotherapy.
lot, you could try and make yourself susceptible to it? I think you
100%,
could.
yeah, of course you can. I think that comes down to the whole thoughts become things.
Yeah.
I use that a lot inside the wellbeing group. Is you are constantly either reinforcing a story or breaking it. Yeah. So if you're saying to yourself, "I can be hypnotized, I can be hypnotized, I can be hypnotized, I can be hypnotized," then when you go there, you're going to believe it
More
so
likely
much
to.
that's why there's these crazy stories around. I don't know if you've I've done a lot of study into the natural healing in cancer and things like that, where you've got different routes of raw foods, organic foods, juices, fasting alone, and then you've got some people who just look to God. And there is some crazy
Well, it's belief,
stories
though, isn't it?
out
It's
there.
a belief.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just a positive. So you see these people who are seemingly fine until they're diagnosed, and all of a sudden they go rapidly downhill.
Yeah.
Whereas if they hadn't, you just don't know. Like, what would have happened if they never found out? Would they just suddenly pop off one day, but have been okay all the way up to that point, or maybe would they just?
Well, here's my theory around some of it, right? Is that, first of all, there's some people will call it the placebo effect. However, I believe it's the lack of stress effect. Because if you believe you're truly doing something that can actually cure you, you believe that the faith that you have in God, the juice that you're drinking, the fact that you're not eating will cure you. Can you imagine the release of cortisol that
Yeah.
you'd have? Like the
If you were
lack of
stressed.
cortisol.
Well, no, the
And
release
then-
goes off if you work the other way and
Yeah, that's
panic,
it.
Panic.
And if you're panic, what's the most catabolic substance to our body?
yeah, cortisol.
Cortisol. So imagine if you're constantly stressed and inflamed state,
Yeah.
you're fucked.
Plus, all your hormones are fully out of whack.
That's it.
Estrogen's up, testosterone down.
And if you can just
So your drive
release,
goes, everything goes.
so if you can relieve that cortisol level through
Yeah. But it makes
faith
sense. Imagine if
or
cortisol was elevated, you'll feel tired.
yeah.
Keep going, I interrupt you then.
No, it's all right. No, I was done there. So I'm going to tell you my Christmas story
Hang
because
on.
we're going to do that, and then you
Are we back onto
you
the?
hijack me
Did I have
with like some sad
sad
pound story.
Okay,
like
let's do yours. Yeah, go on then.
So-
hang on, is this happy? We don't want to be bumming people.
this is kind of like embarrassing for me, but there is like
Okay,
quite
we'll
a
go with
strong lesson inside of it, I think, and that's what I've come to use it as and leverage it inside the wellbeing group. But it is quite funny and embarrassing in one sense. So we used to always do family Christmases, and they were big. And then this one year we did really big. So my mum's cousin was a general manager of a hotel, and the hotel shut for Christmas, and she was like, "Is there any chance?" So we did. So we had like 40, 45 members of cousins, second cousins, third cousins, my direct family. Everyone
insane.
was there, right?
Wow.
I can't even describe to you on Christmas Day the length of the table and the amount of fucking food that was put on there. You were just like,
What a thing.
what? Took like 5 or 6 of the parents to be cooking the Christmas dinner to
Yeah,
make sure
I bet.
everything came together at the time. But the story actually starts on Christmas Eve. So I might or might not be 14 years old at this time. And we're going to bed. And so we've all got our own set.
I was going to say, at 14 years
Just-
old, you're doing a few things, and one of them is wanking furiously. Is this where this is going?
No, it's not actually. So we all have our own hotel rooms because the hotel's that big. So I have a separate hotel room.
At 14, just balling.
That's it. So my little sister says to my parents, how's Santa going to get in my room?
Oh, clever.
How's Santa going to get in my room? And my parents say to my sister, we got to just leave the door on the latch because there's no chimney down into your individual rooms. And if it's locked,
Oh, the main door.
yeah, so like I think
hotel
there
door,
was
they
a
leave it on the
message.
latch.
No, on your individual rooms.
Oh, okay.
So we're all family anyway, aren't we? So she says you've got to leave the latch open on your door because Santa will come down the fireplace there, massive giant fireplace, okay, and then he's going to go and visit all the kids' rooms and stuff, okay. So I hear this and I'm like, okay, right.
You're trying to catch Santa?
So I go, I'm getting ready for bed, go to bed, and my cousin knows this, by the way, as well. That's what's hilarious about this is, so I lay my Santa sack out on the edge of the bed, like this. I'm going to tuck myself up into bed. I'm about to get into bed. My cousin walks through the door. His name's Wes. Still very good friends with him. And he says, "Oh, so you got your Santa sack out there?" He's like, "Yeah, Dad couldn't afford to get me one this year." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the penny dropped. Santa wasn't fucking real.
Dad couldn't afford to get you a Santa sack, and that's what did it.
That's what dropped it at 14 fucking years old.
14's quite old though, bro.
14's very old, dude. And I swear to God, if my dad had creep into my fucking room on Christmas Eve and filled that sack up, mate, I would still believe right now. Okay?
I wish I still was 100% on it. Imagine the joy.
14 years old, mate. That was ruined for me.
Dude, you did well to 14. Most of 12 max.
I just ignored it all.
12.
I just shut it off, mate.
My cousin was the same. He got to about 13 before he figured it
I don't
out.
even think my sister was that old. I think she was like
14.
7 or 8.
Yeah,
I think she figured it out before me.
I feel sorry for those kids though.
It's horrible, dude. 14, I was crushed. And like I say, and the reason I tell that story is embarrassing is for me because I'm pretty sure I lost my virginity at 15.
So
I was like, I just switched. I was like, right.
Santa's not real, right? That's it. Drink, drugs, sex.
Yeah, that's it. Move on with my life. I'm going down the dark path.
There's no naughty list.
That's it. Right, well, we'll see about that, won't we?
That's like your dad was making it so hard to keep you with it. He's staying really on track every time. He's really good up to December.
But you know what? My parents were shocked. They were like, "You were really 14 before you figured that out."
Before when you said I was 14 at the time.
Yeah. And do you know what? I genuinely think we lose too much of that shit as adults. The reason I tell that story inside my wellbeing group and to strangers and stuff is because, like, what do you believe in unequivocally, no matter the doubt that creeps in and around these days? We're too quick to listen to the bullshit of other people instead of just going, like, blind faith, I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Let's go. Like, I believe. I know it's a crazy fat guy jumping down the chimney.
But it's such a good story.
I love it, mate.
And everything about it. Like, honestly, my favourite movie still for Christmas. And it trumps all of the shit. Like, even, honestly, I'm going to say something here that's going to annoy a lot of you. Even more than Die Hard, I love the Santa Claus movies.
I love that.
All three of them. The original one is fantastic. I don't know why, but Tim Allen just nails it. And he is back this year on Netflix with a series. But
That's ace.
it's not quite as
No?
good. Well, I've only watched the first 20 minutes of the first episode because I kind of want to do a binge of it closer to Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Like, I want to do a full binge. But honest to God, like, nothing makes Christmas more Christmas to me than finishing on Christmas Eve Santa Claus 3 and just watching Jack Frost get melted by the cuddle of a child and become good again. And just like, Christmas. And I will sit there and I put myself into a childlike state. I sit there enjoying it as if I'm a kid. 100% that, and oh my God, have you seen Klaus, the movie, the cartoon movie Klaus? Oh my God, it is on a par with the Santa Claus. And the first time I watched that, I don't care, it made me cry. It brought me to happy tears. It's such a beautiful story. And I was in full Christmas kid mode, sitting, and I had no clue what I was watching. I had no idea. And it's this really heartfelt story of this. I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but basically, it's a twist on the Santa tale. It's called Klaus, Klaus. I think it was on Netflix. If it's not, find it. Sit down and watch it in a Christmas childlike mood. It's beautiful. The animation's amazing. It's a great story, and it is just a twist on Santa Claus that so good.
But do you not think that's what we're missing as adults? Like that, I think that's the elixir to life.
I don't think I'm missing that. I think I am still a child.
That's what I mean. For the majority of people, they miss being a kid.
Right now I'm supposed to be a full-grown adult worrying about bills and bullshit like that. And most days when I wake up, I'm thinking about what's the best cereal to have.
Yeah, but I think, but that's like presents. It's pure presence. As a child, I was far more present with
some tough situations.
Yeah,
I've gone through adult situations. I've gone through divorce. I've gone through separations. I've gone through, relationships, unfaithful relationships, and all that kind of stuff. I've been through all that, but I've never lost the child inside who just likes silly, stupid things. But also, on an emotional level, I can still channel that inner kid, and I think when you lose that, I think a bit of you dies.
That's why I'm so unapologetic with that story, mate. Because like we've had this conversation even tonight,
Dude, I would
like,
love to have been 14 and still believing in Santa.
Well, I literally,
sure it's 12.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh!
Steady on, soldier.
Ooh, that I won't have hair on my fingers anymore.
That's
Ooh,
when
that
you've got
is-
a fat thumb and you flick the.
That is warm.
Yeah.
What did I do then?
You've pushed it across with your
Oh, I just if you're not watching, I just blowtorched my hand.
And he is toasted the crap out of his cigar.
Oh, look how red that finger is. Oh wow. Yeah, that jumped right up the cigar. That now looks like a marshmallow
So
ready
for
for
the audience at home, the proper setting for lighting the cigar should be about that, and Lex just put it to that.
That's what happened. Oh, I've got no hair left on those fingers.
Channeling the inner child in him. What does that do?
My inner child went, I'm not dead. Cool. Well, honestly, yeah, embrace the inner child, man. I think the inner child has got me through tough situations because it's that kind of luckless joy that you don't require any luck or anything like that. Just things are gonna be happy and good.
Well, I think part of it for me as well, like with that like unequivocal belief inside of that led to me, and again we had this conversation earlier about me just going all in, having tunnel vision on these projects that I do inside of business, life, training, anything. I am just like, no, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I just seem to have this tunnel vision mode, and I think part of it stems from that. I just believe, and I'm not going to listen to what anyone else says. And for whatever reason it was, that just tipped me over the edge with my cousin. I was like, well, I can't believe anymore. But now, whenever I focus on...
Well, that's only because you're a logical human being as well. And once it clicks, you're like, well, you can't ignore the reality, can you? The fact is you're intelligent enough to not be able to believe anymore.
And it just, I think that had a powerful impact on me. And like I preach to a lot of my clients now, a lot of this like primal state movement and fluid movement. There's a lot of different people to follow with it, but it's a state of just allowing your body to move like we would do as natural, normal, childlike beings.
Yeah. Well, look how kids like flow and are able. They have no. I know they've not gone through life's rigors, so they don't have the muscular like tightness and things like that we develop. But you should play.
Yeah.
Like play. And Alan Watts says this a lot. You play. It should be fun. Life should be fun. You should play more than you should worry. You should play more than you should work. And it's very true because eventually your work will become playful if you're able to adapt your life to be how you want and not to be boxed in, not to be limited. And
Perspective.
yeah, it is true. And I think that's obviously what I do is an odd job, but it's come about because I am playful with what I do. I do try new things. I'm very happy to take on a new task and just trying to learn it. Like even when you saw in a bakery, which some of you know, some of you might not know, we used to make cakes and everything like that, but we would have a sit-in where you could have a coffee and cake and all that kind of stuff. And we made healthy cupcakes and stuff like that because we used to bake with milk instead of butter and all that kind of jazz. They were very light and delicious. We also used to bake things into the cakes like crunchy bars and stuff like that. Yeah, so we did the naughty stuff too. And we used to do custom layers in the cakes as well. So what we'd do is blitz like a chocolate bar into dust and then mix it into the buttercream. So you could have like crunchy buttercream, double, whatever you wanted in the middle and it would taste like it.
That's nice.
But a woman came in once and went, I want to get this cake. I was like, yeah, it was great. And I said, I want to put my dog on top of it. Can you do that? I just went, yep. No clue.
100%.
No clue. And it took me 12 hours to make this dog to put on this cake. Right? And I did it and it looked great. But I also made this dog to a higher level than a normal dog. So I didn't make the normal, like, average looking dog. I made her dog. Yeah. And I used little implements to make features on the dog. So I took the basics and then made it harder without even knowing the basics. But by the end of it, I can make you out of sugar fondant. Not fondant. Sugar. Yeah. Fondant? No, that's wrong. Fondant stuff. Yeah. No? Is that right? Sugar paste.
Pretty sure it's fondant. Yeah.
Fondant. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
it's called something slightly different though. But it's basically fondant, which is malleable, like hard, edible Play-Doh, essentially. I could literally, people would bring in photographs of who they wanted making, and I had these little sculpting tools, and I never knew I could do that. I never knew I had the talent to sculpt until I just went, yep, and then went and learned.
I think that's huge though, isn't it, buddy? Because what would you do as a kid? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, have a bash.
Go and jump off at a garage.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, put
You wouldn't
mattress
be like,
down.
oh, well, if that's quite high, if I jump off that, I might hurt my leg and my back and my arm, or, work tomorrow. And you just say yes.
Yeah, 'cause it'd be a
And
cool
that's what
story.
opens doors.
Yeah, it is true.
I think that's what we miss as adults.
I
I think you get too trapped
here's the
in that. Oh,
downside of it though is I say yes to too much stuff as well because I get overexcited and then I don't have enough time to do it all. So there is that whole part of me. Like again, I always say this, by no means am I any way perfect. I have many failings, but my failings are all changeable. Like I could adapt my failings. It's just that I'm slow to do it. I'm more keen on the yes stuff than like organizing the time to do it. But like I managed this year to find somebody who owns private land to allow me onto land to go cut down a tree to bring it into the house just to have the experience of picking, cutting, and doing my own tree because I've never done it before. And yes, it was
makes
harder.
Christmas that,
It took an entire day out of where I could have been working, but fuck that, I want the experience.
I was going to say, and it just makes Christmas that much
Yeah,
more special.
and I got to be and when the woman was going to drive us up in this Polaris little mud dog thing that she has to go up the farm, I was like, "Can I stand in the back and just hang onto the roof?" She was like, "If you want." I was like, "100%. That's exactly what I want to do."
But you only get those experiences if you're more open to those experiences.
Yeah.
You're not so shut off all the time.
It is true. Be open to many things and then you do them and you're okay. I like that or I didn't, but at least you tried.
Yeah, that's it. Because you've got quite an exciting video coming up, haven't you?
The barrel one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the barrel video has become my own nemesis. I didn't realize how much of a beast it was going to be. I'd be like, 7 days of jumping in a barrel, film it, put it up. It'll be a real fun video, but easy. No. I didn't realize the amount of emotion I would apparently put into the camera whilst doing this. And because I'm emotionally attached to each day, I'm struggling to cut it down. But then I had Jason watch it today and he was like, cut all this, cut all this.
Cut this,
and I looked
cut
at him
that
like,
out. And you're like,
really?
do I have to?
And it's because I'm emotionally attached to that footage. But you're right. All the bits that you've said, I'm like, no, he's right. Yeah, that's why it's always good to have people around you. This is why it's important. The 5 people around you are how you will be. So when I go to ask somebody's opinion, if that person around me was a dick, like they could have really not given me any useful information to that video and just been, either been like, oh, it's all, just being a bit of an arse about it and not giving me anything helpful, or being just a follower and being like, it's all awesome.
Oh, it's amazing.
The whole thing's amazing. Yeah. Which my ego would have been like, yeah, it is. I think
I
so
knew
too.
that. I knew that.
Yeah, of course it is. I've done it for the last 4 days. Whereas someone around you go, this bit's great. This bit, I'll just cut it. It's good, but you don't need it. And then because then you trust those people's opinions as well. That's a big thing. Is do you trust that person? If you look at somebody who's in your life and you're like, do I trust them? If your immediate answer isn't, yeah, warning flag. Like,
why are you spending time with that person?
yeah. Do you know what always gets me when people say like, let's call it John? No, actually, let's not call it John. I know nice.
Oh,
I know nice.
shit.
I know nice Johns.
I was going to say, let's just
pick.
praise it at a good.
Yeah,
John.
yeah. My John's nice. I don't have a bad John. So let's call it. I don't know, like Badubwin, right? Badubwin.
Okay,
because that's a name nobody has. Maybe in one of those countries where they talk like that. Maybe. Badubwin.
I saw a video about that.
Dude, did you just see that on it? Yeah, and there's a guy.
That must be trending.
I think it's Nature is Metal or something weird. One of those style of channels.
Earth Picks.
Yeah, something like
what
that.
it came
And it
across,
scans
yeah.
like 5 of them, and they all
That's
say
it.
their name. They're all going,
And it's all in different-
and they're trying to say that. Yeah,
it.
impressive, isn't it? And these dudes, we're talking about bitching about this and that. These dudes are literally wearing loincloths and hunting.
Yeah, and hunting.
Still, and just like, what is Instagram? Like, they don't even know what they're being filmed for. They don't give a shit. They're just trying to kill some kind of mini gazelle to feed the family for that week.
Or the camera holder.
Yeah, I hope they ate the camera holder. I hope that camera holder went and tried to do a twerking video and they just thought no and speared them.
Speared him and cooked him or her.
Not in our country. Kabuff. No, this is delicious. But okay, so say Badudwin, whatever he's called. Bodhi. All right, so no, but Bodhi is a cool guy from
Bodhi's
the
actually a name.
Keanu Reeves movie,
Not Cody?
Point Break.
Is it?
Bodhi.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, we can't use Bodhi.
You can't use that.
We can't. We're going to get stuck up on the
you can't
name in a
use
second.
Bodhi,
Right?
man.
We'll call
No,
it Nika.
especially since
Or is
he's
that-
passed away, hasn't he?
Let's just call it. We can't call it Nika.
Nika's fine. Yeah, let's
sure?
do that. So,
Right.
Nika, I love how we procrastinated about a fake person's name.
about a fake name.
Okay, so what was my point? What were we even talking about? We were trying to make up a name for somebody.
You were trying to take a story to somewhere. You were going to make up a story about something, and I can't remember what it was.
Christ, we're terrible. Welcome to my brain. Forgotten my entire point.
I was
because
even going to
too
like
bothered
call
about
you 30 seconds ago and go like, dude, you're going off on a bit of a tangent here, just in case you forgot, and now I forgot as well. Like,
it. We went from trying to think up of a name and having natives eating somebody who's trying to work for TikTok.
yeah,
That's a good tangent.
that's a pretty solid tangent. What was it?
Well, it was more to do with the people who are around you.
That's it. Yeah, and then you were going to give an example of
Yeah.
Goodwin.
But Goodwin or Nika doing something, and I can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
Damn it. It was going to be good too.
You were talking about trust.
Yeah.
If you don't trust them,
Yeah.
and then you went to the video thing.
Yeah.
Did you like the video? Come back.
Oh, it's terrible. This is my brain on a daily basis. I mean, it's the common sayings like, do they stoke the flames of your fire or do they piss on them? That is a common one. And really, like, think, you know, that person. Oh, that was it. Yeah. So, you know, when people say, oh, you know, Nika or Bududwin, you know, he's all right most of the time. Okay, so what you've just told me is that sometimes they're a dick. Or they're not just a dick, they're a negative in your life. Why are you accepting 80% good and 20% dick? I think 20% dick, gone. Listen, everyone's allowed a bad moment. Everyone's allowed like a bad mood and comes back and apologizes once or twice, you know, in your time of knowing them, and you know they're in that mood. But if they are somebody that is consistently having a negative moment in your life, month to month, week to week, whatever, get rid of them.
I'm a savage.
Cut
for
them
that.
out.
As of about 5 or 6 years ago, I don't speak to anyone that I spoke to 5 or 6 years ago.
What? Because you were in a different place?
Completely and
Right,
utterly
got
different
you.
place,
So
a
you-
different person.
Some people need that. Some people need to completely detach and get out.
And it was hard, but there is.
I've done it again. Well, I didn't know. I don't know what you that's halfway, dude. It's not my fault you brought a flamethrower as a lighter. I all it did was edge it up to half.
I think
What the hell, bro?
I think it's like for fun, so that I can light it for you over
It's
here. And go, "Do you
she's
like
savage,
that?"
this thing.
But like, honestly, I think that if you're looking at getting core foundations of your life together, to get your shit together. So if anyone's struggling on this podcast and they're like, oh, you know, I need to get my shit together, I need to do something, and that, I paid during those years when I cut everyone out, I paid for proximity to power. I've got bills up to about £18,000 in personal mentorship because I wanted to be around more powerful people.
Okay, but what about people who don't have access to that kind of
Then
money?
you find those people. Discord groups, Reddit feeds, watch these podcasts, go and leverage social media. There is so much powerful shit around. You're either going to watch something and think, wow, that lit me on fire, I need to do something, or if there's that,
not
even
quite
that,
my thing, yeah.
move on. Next thing.
It's like Goggins for me is great every so often, but I can't take him all the time because he's too hardcore. Because he's like, everything he does is like,
You need to suffer on the daily.
everything suffer. Like he'll not do a stretches in the morning and he'll be like, I'm not going to be a bitch and not do those stretches in the morning. I'm like, dude, like the stretches in the morning, you're doing an 18-mile death run later in the day. I'm sure the stretches, like, you're allowed it off, but he will not let him take that off. Like
He's got demons. He
has them, but he's also going to end up crippled.
Yeah.
Have you seen his leg?
No.
He was running bone on bone in his knees, bone on bone. So much so they've had to go in and operate. They had to dig a triangle out of his bone within the joint to give it clearance, and then they've had to pin it all. That's for some. I don't know why, but they've had to put some kind of screws through his knee as well to stabilize it. It's fucked, and he said he can feel it every step. Yet he's still doing those crazy runs. He has a mental strength that will outdo his body. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He's gone
so strong
so
mentally.
far the other way.
But then, like you've just said, so drawing it back a level, like for those that haven't got the money and those that haven't got that group of people around, there is ways to find people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at me and you. We found each other in the gym. We laugh about it, but you picked me up in the gym, and I've never left since.
I did, and that was
Yeah.
all because I came over to ask you a dumb question because I wasn't afraid to ask a dumb question.
Yeah. And then after that,
And because, no, the reason, just to interrupt you again for the 1000th time, because I put myself in that moment not above you. I looked at you and, like, you are lean and mean and big and chunky. Some people are a bit, I'm not big, but I'm chunky.
he is big.
No, compared to bodybuilders, I'm not big. But do you know what I mean?
Twice the size of me.
I'm chunkier than most people in the gym we were in. I could have had an ego that was like, I know more than everyone here because I'm chunkier.
Bigger.
So, whereas I looked at you and thought, he's going to know more about this shit than me. And I went and asked the question because I didn't allow my ego to think I knew more than you just because I am like more muscular in a gym. And then you did a stretch that made me feel like a bitch. Like you like put your foot up by your head and was just chatting to me. And I was like, oh, I suck. I am terrible. I'm so far behind. Like in my head, when you did that, I went, when we're both 60, he's going to kick my ass. That's how my brain went. And so immediately I was like, tell me more, you know? And I think you have to have that ability to have a humbleness, not in the fact of like, I'm so great, but I'm still humble. Humble in the fact that people know more than you. Other people know more than you. Be ready to learn. Be willing to learn.
100%. And I think that's a mind state shift as well. Like, you've got the wrong people around you. How often are you learning? How often are you speaking to new people? How often are you searching out those people that lift you up? Because you either are or you aren't. And if you're not going to find them.
It's easy to be a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you get
some
very
people get
trapped
comfortable
there.
Yeah. Because they don't want to be the small fish again.
That's it.
I'm not bothered about being small fish. The only time it bothers me about being the small fish is my own internal thought process where and this is because of the inner child again, I'll be in a room with blokes and like when you look at me, do you look at me and think I'm a bloke? Like I'm a man?
Yeah.
So when you look at me, you see a man.
Yeah.
I feel like a boy still.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in a room of men who you might think look like me and talk like me, I'm in that room like,
There's men around.
manly men.
Well, see, when I first saw you in the gym, dude, you had your sleeveless on, your beard was in check, your hair's pulled back, you look like a fucking Viking. And I even, like, my ex was talking to somebody about you, because I'm quite good friends with her, so, and she said, oh, Jace has met this new guy at the gym, which he gets on really well, and he's like some Viking lookalike or something. And I was like, and I just looked at you, you were big, you were jacked, you got a big vein popping down because you're working out, and I was just like, guy's got his shit together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, guy's got shit together. He looks like he trains. He looks like he loves what he does. He's in check. He's got a good, strong hair and beard game, which, like, I think how you look after yourself and how you present yourself is a really good reflection of what you do in your personal life as well, outside of, like, what you say in the gym.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you need to be wearing the latest fashion or anything like
No,
that.
it's
I don't think
nothing
I
to
was
do
when
with
you saw
that.
me. I think I was wearing tie-dye trousers and some
Just some work boots or something,
yeah,
I think it
fucking
was.
hell,
Yeah,
work
it doesn't
clothes. I was
matter.
wearing those mad Nike things, I think.
I can't remember.
So I remember you saying up to me, you're like, I don't have the balls to wear what you're wearing. I was like, what? And it was like tie-dye trousers, a vest, and then these like old school, they're the Dennis Rodman destruct Nike basketball like low tops. Yeah. And I didn't even think about it because it's just what I would fucking like to wear.
Yeah.
Just went in. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Feeling.
I am big. I am the movie Big. But it's weird, like people, like I was saying, so you saw a bloke when you saw me, but when I'm in a room with guys, sometimes who might even be younger than me, I tend to be around people of similar, like, generations anyway, just because your mind kind of get brought together, don't you?
How old are you?
73.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Don't look a day over.
Don't over 72. Do you know what? I don't think I've ever actually said, because I think it's fun for people to guess.
I like that.
Yeah.
How old do you all think Lex is?
Mysterious.
Put in the comments below.
Yeah.
And then put how old you think I am and make sure it's younger.
But no, regardless of the age in the room, if it's people I look towards for inspiration of some kind or for learning, I look at them like a 15-year-old looking at, the ex-girlfriend's, look at them like I looked at the dad. Like, oh, man. And I always and I think it's my ability that helps me sometimes, but also hinders me sometimes in that I need to sometimes believe more that I am a full-grown man and I have capabilities.
And you can contribute to that room.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we get talking, that goes, and I do contribute, and quite.
But it's that
easily.
initial fear. Yeah,
It's
you're
the
almost
initial-
scoping the room out. You're
the
very similar to me in
initial
that
feeling.
sense. Yeah. Scope
Yeah.
the room out. You wonder whether you can contribute much to it. And then once it starts, you're off.
Well, there's two things men do when they go into a room, isn't there? There's like, well, there's one thing it all boils down to. You look around the room and you think, who could I kill? If the world's about to end now, how many of these motherfuckers could I take out? Like, and you look at the ones who like,
going to eat?
yeah, and then you look at that one dude, you're like, maybe not him.
Maybe not. I'll team up with him.
Yeah, so then he's your focus. He's like, right, that's the dude. That's the one. That's the wolf on the top of the hill. Yeah. Funny, isn't it? But I think there is a balance to everything. I think with every strength, there's going to be a weakness that comes with that strength. If you're overly kind of egotistical and confident, you will trip yourself up eventually by missing something simple because of your over eagerness to assume you're always right. Whereas if you always assume you're wrong and you're weak, you're going to miss opportunities that you could have really taken hold of and made a good forward progression in your life because you didn't believe in yourself that you had that capability.
I think ultimately to make it inside of the next circle up. So there will be a circle relative to your energy and your ability to add value inside of it. And when you find that circle, you have to be willing to add the value. So wherever you're at, if you can't add value at that, then the circle drops a level for whatever it is. And I'm talking about people's individual capacity to right now. So if your capacity is, for example, you want to go and do a certain sport, right? There will be levels. There'll be county level, there'll be national level, international level, world level, won't there? If you're at a national level, but you can't speak up and add anything to the sport at a national level, you'll end up at county level and surrounding yourself with county level athletes, but you'll be the big fish in the pond.
Yeah.
So you need to then grow your confidence to add value inside of that national level. Does that make sense?
Do you think there's sometimes a good thing of just bullshitting yourself?
100%, yeah.
When you
I
just
think
go and
so.
go, you fucking do this. You are right to be, even knowing that maybe you don't know everything you need to know at that point, but just fuck
Yeah,
it.
but I think, see, then that's what lands you in the right circle.
Yeah,
Because then you're at the bottom level of the circle. We're talking about pools, right? So you've got the little fish and the big fish in that pool. You've just made it into the pool. You're not going to be a big fish. So if you start off as a little fish, you get to grow and you get to eat, and then you become a big fish. So I think if you don't, not necessarily bullshit, I think it's kind of that almost
Bullshit
fake it till you make it.
In this
sort
kind
of
of
thing.
term, let me clarify
Yeah.
that. I'm not saying fake it to make it because sometimes that works, fake it to make it, and that's just a bit like where if you go into an interview and they ask, "Can you do this?" you say yes. If you
And
fucking
you can
can't, then you
figure
go
it
back
out.
and
Yeah,
learn. Like
absolutely.
that's fake it to make it. That's like take a fucking chance, but. More like this, bullshit yourself. When I did you've done the bodybuilding show, it was the same thing. You're wearing Ron Stillwood stain, you're in very small pants, and you're about to go and get judged by some weird guys in suits who are sat at a table in front of you looking up at your butt crack.
Gawking at you.
Yeah, right? Gayest thing you'll ever do. Yeah, everyone in that backstage trying to be as manly as possible. It's hilarious. But it's such a paradox. I remember being at the side of the stage on one of the first bigger shows where the auditorium was full, good few hundreds of people there. And I remember going fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. Literally over and over and over and over and over again in my head, just saying it. And then the one resounding thing, you will never see any of these people again in your life. That doesn't matter. Yeah, I might do. But I'm telling myself I'm not going to. Then I walked out to that stage with the fuck it attitude. And that is an attitude that I've held to this day. And that is the fuck it attitude. Do you want to do this? Yeah. Fuck it, go.
Just go and do it. Yeah. That's part of that neuro-linguistic programming side of things, though, isn't it? You just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and then it becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah.
And so if you're constantly telling yourself that you deserve to be in this circle because you're going to either add value or learn from it, then that's the circle you'll end up in. And then you should look to keep leveling up. Either you level up with that circle of people, or you find a new fucking circle if you outgrow them.
This is the problem, yeah. Find a new circle is the biggest thing that you can do. And don't be afraid. You don't need mountains of people around you to you see these people that go out and they're in the clubs and all this stuff, and just 20 odd people in this group. And I'm like, how many of those people would jump into a fight with you? How many of those people would come and pick you up at 3 a.m. because you crashed your car and you don't want anyone to know about it, and you need to get that car back to a garage hidden and nobody needs to know about it? Who are you calling on that list that's going to do that? Who's going to get up at 3 a.m. and come out and help you? Because if nobody on your phone call list is going to do that, there's nobody of worth on your list.
That reminds me of I can't remember what the film is, but Ben Stiller comes up to the guy. Again, he's a famous actor. I want to call him Jeremy, but it's probably not. He walks up to him. He's like, "We need to go now."
Oh,
we're gonna go.
It's the bank robbery movie.
It's
freaking brilliant.
We need to go now. We're going to hurt somebody. You can't ask me about it later. And
we need to go. We need to go somewhere. We're going to hurt some people, but you can't ask me why. And
you can never talk to me about it again later or something. Yeah. And he goes, "Whose car are we taking?"
Yours or mine. Yeah.
That's the type of people you need around. Not bad men that are going to obviously hurt other people, but but you need to know. Yeah, you need to know that the people around you, I think, are leveling you up, or you're helping them level up, and you either grow as a team or you move on to the next circle. If your circle becomes far too stagnant.
The Town. It's called The Town. If you have not seen it, it is so good, and it's got some sleeper actors in there as well, because it's got Ben Affleck as the lead, and then it has Blake Lively in it as his girl. Isn't Blake Lively his girl, or is Rebecca Hall? No, Rebecca Hall is his girl, and Blake Lively is the ex-girlfriend in it.
It was Jeremy, wasn't
and,
it? I knew it was.
Jeremy Renner. Is that his name? Renner. Who was Hawkeye in the Marvel movies. Yeah. Oh, it also has Pete Postlethwaite, who I think's passed away now. He's brilliant in it as well. Oh, it's a heavy cast. Titus Welliver, Chris Cooper, John Hamm. If you look up these names, you'll know their faces. I'm terrible with names and faces, but I'm great with faces, terrible with names. Such a good movie, The Town. Underrated. I don't know if it's underrated actually. I don't know. It's so.
I say we wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So we've gone through. First of all, you should all be believing in Santa still.
Oh, 100%.
Should be.
Well, here's the thing. If you're in a point now where you have either some of your family have younger kids or you've got kids coming in, one of the things that you can do, and the beautiful thing that I realized recently, is the beautiful thing about having younger people in your family is you can put into them what you loved in your childhood, and you almost get to relive it through them. Like the excitement of seeing their faces is almost as good as when it was you. So there's a great thing. So get that flour out, make Santa's footsteps up the stairs, eat half of those cookies and leave a little note, put some wish lists up a goddamn chimney or in a post box near you with, just have fun. Don't stress. It's not about the presents. It's about the people who are around you, the time you spend together.
Presents are going to be forgotten.
It's the memories that will last.
It is 100%.
And I have so many good memories from Christmas, from those big family meals, like you said, and things like that. This is also a time to rebuild bridges. This is a time where you can reach out, and it gives people an excuse to not say no.
Yeah,
it really does. It gives them an excuse of Christmas to get together, and it might work and it might not, but at least you tried.
Yeah, 100%. And do not underestimate the value of the 5 people closest to you.
Huge. Yeah, that was a good one. Ups and downs. What a good podcast. Probably many blackouts.
Far
but
too many.
Worth it. I hope in those blackouts you went and made a brew or something. That is the thing. In the future, if we have a blackout, it's just a signal that you need to go and make a tea. And if you don't drink tea...
Good on you. Go and get a coffee.
Yeah, well, go get a coffee. But if you don't drink tea or coffee, just live in the knowledge I trust you a little less as a human being.
You wouldn't be part of our circle. Because you don't
Unless
drink coffee.
Your get out is, if you eat ice cream, I'll let you off. But if you don't eat ice cream, you're out. You are 100% out. Do you what? Don't tell. I know you drink coffee.
We should cut that there.
No, you're right. You drink coffee.
Oh, that's fine.
I know that.
I just got a weird thing about ice cream, mate.
Ice cream's fine because some people don't like the cold.
Yeah, so no, I got to melt it and then stir it up, and then once it's kind of like a bit loose, and then I can.
That's
I'm
fine
with that. Yeah, okay, I'm alright.
Eat ice cream.
I'm still in the circle.
And on that note, leave behind in the week what was bad, bring forward what was good, and make it a great week. Make it a great December. Do not worry about gifts. It's about time and experience. Give your time to people. Give your time. It will last much longer. Toodle pip.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. No, not yet. Not quite yet. Merry Christmas time.
Nearly Merry Christmas.
Right, we're out.